to be here today with my friend Jill Hendrickson. I met Jill, when was it? In November 2015 at a retreat with Morgana Ray, learning how to do retreats that we're going to be adding into each of our businesses coming up. So, or maybe, have you gotten yours started yet?
My retreat?
Have you planned your first retreat yet?
No, it's on the docket, but I don't know when it is. I've just been so busy. It was the holidays after we met, and there's been a lot of other stuff, but I'm still planning to do it.
Yeah, I know. Me too. It's in the works. So, one of the things about this interview series that I love is that we're talking to just great ordinary, not ordinary, but great everyday people. That's the word I wanted, who who a lot have taken their mess, and transformed it into something that brings love and light in the world. And that is definitely, what I was impressed with you when I met you, is you took a difficult situation and you turned it into something where you're helping lots of people. So I really want to hear about that. So I'm just gonna give this time, take it away and tell us a little bit about you, or a lot, whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Tell us about your book. Tell us about how you got involved in, this program that you do, or the work that you do, I guess. I'm not going to give it away.
Well, do you want the long version or the short version? How long do we have here, so I can just
like 20 to 30 minutes.
Okay. So. And feel free to jump in anytime if something's not clear or you want to go in a separate direction.
Sure.
So anyway, my name is Jill Hendrickson, and my website is jillhendrickson.com. I had started my career as a journalist. I was working on Capitol Hill. I was actually an investigative reporter. I can't believe it because I hardly watch the news anymore. But so I was working there for a while, and then I went to Japan, and I worked for a newspaper there. And while I was there, I met who I thought was the man of my dreams. We got married, and he actually turned out to be the man of my nightmares. And here I was, this capable person who had worked for the Associated Press, and I'm brave and I love to travel. And I found myself caught in this situation of domestic violence. So I found myself in this situation of domestic violence, and this was in the 1980s, believe it or not. And so there was no internet. I felt like I was the only person that had ever gone through this. And of course, it felt shameful, and I didn't know who I could even talk to. And so we ended up moving to New York City. But before that, let me back up a little bit. I was in such bad shape. And when you're dragged into that situation, you don't even feel yourself being whittled away. You don't know how bad it actually gets, because it subtly it subtly wears away your self-confidence and just everything. So I'm there living in Tokyo, and I had this experience of seeing in the newspaper that there was going to be this meditation intensive. And I wasn't really that interested in spirituality or anything, and I just needed something that would help me, and I thought meditation will help calm me down. So I went, and it was being held by this female meditation master and enlightened master from India. Not that that meant anything to me at that time. I didn't even know what that was. She wasn't even there. It was held by a couple of her swamis, and during that 2-day experience, we went into meditation. It was like the second time I'd meditated, and I just had this massive out-of-body experience. We were repeating a mantra, and suddenly I literally felt like somebody had smacked me on the back, and my body went forward, my chin went up, and I started breathing like a huge bellows. And it wasn't me, it was something else was doing it, and it was it was frightening. I felt like I had to totally concentrate on my breath or I would die. I would suffocate. And I literally felt like I was underwater breathing through a straw. And if I didn't just concentrate on my breathing, I was going to drown. And then I felt energy going up and down my spine and all over my body. Suddenly I was flung out into the universe. I could feel wind going by me, and I am just going at the speed of a rocket towards this massive great white light.
Whoa. That had to be shocking.
It was shocking, it was scary, and it was the most exhilarating experience of my life. I have literally no idea how long it went on. It could have been like 2 minutes. It could have been an hour. It could have been 10 years. I don't know.
Right.
Time is, was totally gone. And then at some point, that part of that experience stopped. And I felt myself settle back, and just literally waves of what I can only call bliss. And they really felt like waves of the ocean were just rolling over me. And it was so exquisite and so joyful. I was smiling so hard, my face actually hurt. I couldn't stop smiling. And then at some point, I kind of realized here I am sitting back in this room, and it's pitch black, and I'm around 200 people meditating, and I'm just going, oh my God, what just happened? And I have to say it was the most shocking experience of my life. So they broke for lunch shortly after that, and I stumbled out of that. This meditation intensive took place in a sacred park in Tokyo, and I stumbled out there and just sat on a park bench and was going, what just happened? And I noticed that there were two old Japanese ladies behind me yammering away in Japanese, and I'd been living in Japan for like 5 or 6 years by that time, and by that time that noise had been like fingernails on a chalkboard, and like nothing bothered me. Everything felt so sweet, and the birds were singing, and I felt like this layer of mosquito netting had been lifted off of me, and I was suddenly seen clearly for the first time.
Wow.
So then I just knew that this meditation master from India was my spiritual master. I'd never been looking for one. I didn't even know what that was. She was called a guru, and that was a word that I never liked. Not that I knew what it meant, but I didn't like it. So I found myself going to India to spend time with her. I went there a couple times while I was in Tokyo. And then
Were you still married at this time?
I was, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And in fact, that teacher came to Tokyo, and I went to see her, and we went on this, with a group of people, we went on a pilgrimage up Mount Fuji. And I had the chance to speak to her face to face. I was really scared because I was going to ask her about this situation, like, should I leave? And I was afraid to leave because at the time I was writing a book. I didn't have an income coming in. And she tuned in, and she looked away, and she looked back at me, and she said, we'll just have to see. Like, that wasn't the answer I wanted. I wanted a yes or no. So we just did. And immediately after that, my husband got transferred to New York. And so she had an ashram upstate New York, like a couple hours away. I would go see her every weekend. And interestingly enough, you'll love this, when we were looking for an apartment to live in Manhattan, we looked all around, up and down the island of Manhattan, couldn't find what we wanted. And finally, my husband said, just go find whatever you want. And I found this gorgeous place. We loved it, took it. And when I looked up where the Manhattan ashram was, because I knew I wanted to be able to go there, it was right across the street.
Oh, that's convenient.
In all of Manhattan. So the only reason I'm telling that part of the story is that was like the spiritual awakening I got, definitely on the spiritual path. And that was such a huge support to me. And that master saved my life, basically. Through meditating and doing the practices, I loved chanting. Just having that whole new universe open up for me gave me tremendous strength, and gave me the strength to eventually get away from my husband. Mm-hmm. What happened was that, oh, and by the way, I didn't mention that I had chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia at that time. So that was, I ended up having it for like 20 years. That made it more difficult to leave because I didn't know if I could support myself. And a lot of times I felt like I had the flu. So one evening my husband came home from, it was around, actually he'd taken himself away on a trip on Valentine's Day without me. He came home and picked another fight. In the process, grabbed a Chinese vase and threw it at me. And I was so scared because I knew bad stuff was happening. I knew at that point it was change or die. And so I ran out of there. I ran for my life, out the front door, down the stairs, 14 floors, because I was afraid to get in the elevator because I thought he could corner me in there. And went to the front door and said to the doorman, please call the police. And this time they finally came. This wasn't the first time I called the police. I tried in Japan. They didn't do anything. And I was afraid to do it in New York City because up until that time, basically when a woman called about a domestic violence situation, they would come and they would walk the guy around the block and send him home. You know how dangerous that is? I mean, you could die. So they arrested him because like about a week before that, a prominent socialite had been murdered by her husband. So they were finally taking it seriously.
Right.
So he went to jail overnight. He was out of the house. I got an order of protection, but he wasn't out of my life. So then followed a 7-year divorce where he hired one of New York's nastiest law firms and its nastiest lawyer. Long story short, I ended up winning that case, partly just because of the strength of having, the spiritual practices behind me. And so that part got taken care of. And in the meantime, while I was going through those 7 years, I went to several healing schools because I wanted to try to heal myself from chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia. And of course, the healing schools have a very strong spiritual component, as you know.
Yeah.
Well, when I won the case, I knew that I needed to live in a more gentle environment. So I moved back to California to be near my family. And one of the first things I did was take a trip back to India to be with my spiritual master. And then I wanted to fulfill a lifelong dream, which was to go to Italy and learn Italian, because I'd spent some time there when I was a student in college, and I just fell in love with it. So with some of the money that I had and some of the time that I had, I went to Italy, and I ended up, because I followed my heart, I ended up finding this amazing apartment in a palazzo in Florence, living with a cooking teacher. And from that experience, I wrote my first book, which was called Weight Loss Italian Style.
Oh.
That got me involved in the whole, my whole background had been in writing, and more than being a journalist, I wanted to be an author and write books.
Right.
So that became the first book that actually got published. And from that, I knew I had to market it, and so I started going to marketing things and meeting lots and lots of people. Before this time, believe it or not, I really wasn't much involved with, I had female friends, but I wasn't part of women's groups or women's movement or anything like that. But from going to these kind of functions, I was meeting all of these amazing women, like powerful women that were starting their own businesses. A lot of them were sort of in the beginning level like me, and then there were other ones that had become famous and were really powerful and were changing a lot of lives. So as I continued to go to these things, I realized, because I'm an author, because I'm starting to go out speaking, I really need to use my gifts to help other women. And by the way, the chronic fatigue and the fibromyalgia went away. So through doing all these different things, I healed myself, or it was spontaneously healed. Who knows what it was. But I really felt that my mission being on the planet was that I'd been given a second chance. And I wanted to help as many women as possible. So from that, I knew that I wanted to write another book. And, I have tons of books planned. But I've met so many amazing women, and a lot of them were speakers. And I realized that a lot of them didn't have their own book. So I put together a group book, and its title is Supercharge Your Success. It just became a bestseller.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But it has 14 women in it, and they are each writing about their lives and their businesses. It's an entrepreneurial book. It's mainly a business book. The subtitle is 14 Big Impact Thought Leaders Share Their Secrets to Health, Wealth, Happiness, and Achieving Dreams. In the process of writing about who they are and what they do, their stories all came out, and they are amazing stories of trauma to triumph, mess to success.
Yeah. Love
and
it.
that really inspired me. Well, when I had taken that trip to India, I also took a side trip to Bali. Totally loved it. If you've seen Eat, Pray, Love, this is before Eat, Pray, Love, but if you've seen that movie, you see how exotic and special it is. And it has a huge healing element to it. It's also a very feminine island. And so I decided that I want to do another group book, and this time take women that have been through some sort of trauma, whether it's divorce because I'm focusing on helping women bounce back after divorce. It doesn't have to be that. But I would like to take them out of their normal environment to this wonderful, exotic, nurturing, healthy place to have a transformational experience and lead them through a process of being able to, well, I actually call it the Heal, Write, Speak Goddess journey. So we do the healing, they write their story, bring up all that stuff so they can let it go, but also because I think it's really important to capture your story. It's inspiring to other women, and it also helps you to understand the meaning of what you went through and also see what an absolute heroine we all are. We're the heroines of our own lives. And then for the women that want to, I mean, they will be in those groups being able to speak their story also. But if they want to, they can take that, they can be in a book like this one, and they can take their story and go out and speak and ultimately help other women. And that's the way we make the wasteland of our lives flourish again and really do some good on the planet.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I love it. And the thing that I love is that, it doesn't really matter what our background is.
Wow.
It doesn't matter if you thought you had the perfect childhood. It doesn't matter, if you came from a really difficult situation. Somewhere along the way, there's a mess. Somewhere along the way, there's struggle and there's, disappointments and fears and all of that. And it doesn't have to keep us stuck, And I love that. I love your vision of just empowering women to, and not only women, men need to do this too. They need to, men have their stories. I mean, we all have a story, and we all have like an amazing opportunity to do something with it. We have a choice. Are we going to be stuck because of our story and stuck in blame and anger for our whole lives? Or are we going to, recognize it and almost celebrate it, just be grateful for it, for how we can be on the other side of it, and then give somebody else hope, that.
Yeah, well, you know what, Jennifer, I actually believe that we are put through these experiences so that we can do these things. I actually like to say, accept the gift and throw away the price tag. That is the doorway to doing the work that we were meant to do on the planet and becoming the women or men that we were meant to be. And the reason that I'm focusing on women is that we are powerful beyond belief. Things are changing in the world now, and especially in America. I'm not sure what it's like in other places, but here there is this groundswell of women stepping into their power and using their gifts for really good things on the planet. And I don't see men coming together in groups the way that women are. And so we can actually help them step up also. They don't have the kind of gifts that we have for, I think it's a little bit different than men. Women like to come together and share and empower each other, and men see them coming together in those kind of groups yet, or whether they ever will. But I do see some men at some of these women's groups that I go to, they get it and they are like on fire too. So it's a win-win. And since I'm working with women who have gone through divorces, and by the way, I have a new Facebook page. It's called Healing from Divorce for anybody that wants to go and get information on that. But divorce is a horrible thing to go through, and yet you can use it as the launch pad to the next level thing in your life. It really is a very important step for a lot of women to reclaim who they are and reclaim their power and actually start using their gifts, especially if they have been in some kind of an abusive marriage where they've been held down, where they've been held down or put down or told that they don't have anything worth sharing. That's not true. It's
such a lie.
Yeah. So this is an opportunity, like a grand golden opportunity for them. Yeah, you lose some things, but it's kind of like that analogy of the caterpillar that attaches itself to the branch and it goes into the cocoon and it has to sit there and melt from who it was and sprout those wings and fly as a beautiful butterfly.
I love it. Love it. So, so what are you working, like what projects are you working on now? I mean, do you counsel with women? Do you take clients? I mean, how is your work working?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So I'm in the process of doing a launch right now. I have a free teleseminar that's coming up on February 10th.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, next week, 11 a.m. Pacific. And
Okay.
It's called 3 Keys for Women to Heal from Divorce Faster, Better, Stronger Than Ever.
Love it.
Yeah, thank you. From that, I have a 3-week course that walks them through a process of the stabilization process, then the transformation, and then the liftoff. And from there, I have a longer 3-month group program that women can be part of that has its own Facebook group, because I'm sure you know how powerful that is when women come together on Facebook as a group of supportive sisters. And I also do private coaching for the people for whom that's a better fit.
Okay.
And,
cool.
can I just add, and then I'm putting together this Bali retreat, the Heal, Write, Speak Goddess Journey, for women that want to write their story and be part of a best-selling group book.
I love it.
Yep.
I might have to go.
We would love to have you there.
That sounds really amazing.
It will be.
So what's the best way for people to get a hold of you for more information, like website, like if you want them to email you, just let us know. Tell us what the best way is.
Yeah, they can go to my website, which is jillhendrickson.com, and it's Jill Hendrickson, HENDRICKSON.com. There, this is my other book, Victim to Victory. They can download one of my best success chapters from there for free if they want to.
Oh, cool.
And to get a hold of me by email is info@jillhendrickson.com. They can also find me on Facebook, Jill Hendrickson, and then I have the Healing from Divorce, which is on Facebook.
Awesome. Excellent. Well, I love it. Thank you. I have just loved talking to you. I've missed you. I didn't even realize I missed you.
Oh, me too. I know. And I hope you do come on the Bali retreat, because you're so far away. We can't just get together for a cup of tea. So think about that. I wish you lived closer.
Thank you, Jill, so much for being with us today. I'm so excited for you, and I'm so excited for the amazing work that you're doing to help, just to help people find who they are, find their purpose, and really, you're bringing so much love and light into the world. And I mean, you can just see it, you just radiate it. So obviously, everyone gets to be blessed by you.
The wonderful thing about it is really, I just want to be a spark that ignites the spark of other women. I can't serve everybody, but if I can light a fire under other women so they can go and take their gift out there and share it with other people, that is the greatest gift.
Well, I'm excited for my book to arrive. So I want to read that and be inspired, and we just need that. We need to be around people that inspire us and keep us, reaching higher and higher. So
thank you so much for this opportunity.
Oh, you're welcome. Great to have you.
And it's wonderful to see you. Thanks.
Thanks.